Welcome back to On the Rise, as Cyle Larin is coming off a very impressive international window and especially performance against Panama, where he scored that opening goal and truly showing why his pressing style from the front is ever so important to Jesse Marsch's style of play and tactics under Canada. Now we see the question rise up once again. Should Cyle Larin be a consistent starter and a lock in that starting 11 under Jesse Marsch for this Canadian national team? And I think it's completely a legitimate question for supporters and the media to all be asking, because this is a question that has truly been there for about a year or two. Should Cyle Larin be a consistent lock in this starting 11? And it's a completely fair question. Cyle Larin's been up and down in form, but now he's hitting form for both club and country. And with players also rising within the player pool up front at the number 9 position, whether it's dual nationals, whether it's players playing in very exciting clubs, whether it's youngsters, there's a lot of players knocking on that door behind Cyle Larin. And there is now that huge question of, should Cyle Larin be a lock in that starting 11 to start? And it's a question we're going to ask in this video and completely answer. And it's a very exciting topic of conversation around this Canadian national team. It's a very fun topic because Cyle Larin is still a very good striker and can offer this Canadian team so much up front. Before we jump into the question, guys, make sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments around the topic of, should Cyle Larin start consistently for the national team? Hit that like button, drop a sub, because the support has been incredible, and we're going to jump straight into it. And should Cyle Larin start consistently for the national team is a major question, and I've had my qualms about this one as well. At times, I thought he should be dropped. I thought Tanny should get his chance. I thought Theo Bair should get his chance. Even Luca. There's so many options for Canada up front now that I thought Cyle Larin should have been dropped. But watching Cyle Larin up front against Panama, how well he played, the connection he's finally having with Jonathan David and the partnership they're creating, even though, yes, you can say they've created a partnership for so many years now, but under Jesse Marsch, that game against Panama, it looks like those two transformed, and it looks like their partnership is on an absolutely different level. So for me, answering the question of, should Cyle Larin be a consistent starter for this Canadian national team and should be in the conversation of starting week in and week out for this national team on international duty, is a yes. And that might shock a lot of people, because for me, I've not always been the biggest Cyle Larin supporter, but watching Cyle Larin up front, up close at BMO against Panama, where I made that trip to go watch this Canadian national team, was ever so worth it. And being able to watch Cyle Larin in person, up close, was very exciting, because some players you don't get the full picture of watching on TV, on your computer, and it's just a different thing in person. And watching the work that Cyle Larin puts off the ball is incredible. And I know I've said this before, but a striker needs to be putting the ball in the back of the net, needs to be scoring, and needs to be finding those outlets, those paths, opening up players and opening up spaces. And yes, you need to be scoring more, but what Cyle Larin did off the ball, watching him in person, was truly tremendous. It was very exciting to see. And some players in football, you always hear it, you have to watch them in person to see what they truly give you. And I always haven't had the most chances to watch Cyle Larin. This is my third chance watching Cyle Larin live, and he was absolutely fantastic, opening up spaces, finally creating that true partnership with Jonathan David. They worked off each other extremely well. But I loved what Cyle Larin brought in the press. Consistently, every time he was on the pitch, he was pressing up from the front. He was pressing at every moment he had, and he wasn't pressing at a straight line. He was doing those very intelligent curved runs to press the goalkeeper, to press the back line, to win back possession, not letting Panama have an easy outlet or an easy pass, whether it's from their center back to their 6, whether it's from their goalkeeper to a fullback. He made them make the difficult decision and make a quick pass, whether it's hurting the goalkeeper. Especially in that first half, Cyle Larin was tremendous at pressing the goalkeeper. And some people might think, well, you're talking too highly of his pressing. He's a striker. He's a goal scorer. He needs to be putting the ball in the back of the net. And yes, you can bring that argument, because you can hold me to my receipts, and I will always listen to those, because Cyle Larin is a player myself who I've said needs to be scoring and needs to be putting the ball in the back of the net if we're going to be talking about him as a consistent lock and starter for Jesse Marsch, especially heading into 2026. And there is something I'd like to rise to you. In 8 matches this season, he has played for RCD Mallorca. He has started 6 of them. In the past 5, he has started them. And recently, he has been in very good form for Mallorca. He has had 2 assists, 1 goal in his last 4 performances, playing very well, getting a goal against his former team in Real Valladolid, getting an assist against Espanyol, getting an assist against Real Betis. In his last 4 games, 3 goal contributions. We're truly seeing the last Cyle Larin that we all know and all remember from his form at Besiktas, from his form at Valladolid. We're truly seeing Cyle Larin. But we need to see that goal scoring continue for the national team. And what you get from Cyle Larin is a great goal scorer. We've seen it. He is tied for the highest goal scorer in Canadian men's national team history with his partner, with his true partner in crime in Joe David. And this is a great partnership now. And you can talk about 2026. I think Cyle Larin is a perfect partner for Jonathan David heading into 2026. Yes, we can say Theo Bair is still rising. Yes, we can say Luka Kolanovic is still rising, even though I probably butchered that name. But he's only 29, guys. He'll be 31, 32 come World Cup. That is not that old. And this partnership he is starting to create with Jonathan David under Jesse Marsch looks extremely exciting. That is another thing you have to key out and point out. Not just his pressing that I watched live against Panama. It was that partnership he got with Jonathan David. Alexander Gonge-Ruzik talked about it on Northern Football Podcast multiple times during the Copa America, and I completely agree with him. That him and Jonathan David, Cyle Larin and Jonathan David were stepping over each other too much. They were bumping into each other, their runs weren't matching, there was confusion. And now, yes, it's a one-off against Panama, but it's still a very good opponent was a horrendous pitch on the day. We have to admit, BMO was a very bad pitch on the day. But they were able to link up. They were able to each open up spaces and pockets of play for each other, making great runs off each other, but also connecting very well on the pitch. And the partnership, the relationship they have between each other, playing together for so long for the national team, but also building that within a Jesse Marsch system is now just a different level, which is going to be very exciting for these 2 strikers, because it's not just a John Herdman style of play. This is completely different. And with 2 strikers who are both fantastic at pressing from the front, and Cyle Larin, who is amazing at pressing from the front, yes, he needs to be scoring more, and I think we will get that from Cyle Larin. But at the national team level, if he can find his scoring boots and can find that finishing form, Cyle Larin is really going to be a lock in this team among a few other players who are already a lock, whether that's Crépeau, Davies, the center back partnership. We might be ready to say this true spine for this national team in the striking partnership is close to a lock for 2026, but I'm not going to say that yet. I will say Cyle Larin is a lock for the Gold Cup, is a lock for the Nations League, unless he gets injured, unless he loses form, because he is so vitally important to this Jesse Marsch style of play. And is such an important figure at pressing from the front, keeping the press going, and being a true leader on this team. I think he is a lock for this Jesse Marsch team. I think he is a consistent starter, and he has changed my mind. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Should Cyle Larin be a consistent starter and a lock for this Canadian team under Jesse Marsch as a partner for Jonathan David? Hit that like button, smash that sub button, guys, because the support has been incredible since I come back, and I really appreciate it all, guys. I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.